What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to this evening's Anfield Agenda news roundup, where I have a lot to go through. We're going to be discussing KONATE and his desire to join Real Madrid. We'll be talking about a striker that Liverpool have been linked with, a youngster that could come into the starting 11, and lots more over the next few minutes. Now, as you know, the Reds are in action at 3 p.m. tomorrow against Wolves. We'll be live here on the channel for a watch-along from 1:45 p.m, taking you right the way through the day. And in addition to our fantastic watch-along here, we've teamed up with Big Up, a community platform where you can now enter a predictions game for every single Anfield Agenda watch-along. Simply put, predictions is a sweepstakes game where you can win prizes, and there is even a free-to-play entry. Every time Anfield Agenda hosts a watch-along, that watch-along will also be on the Big Up platform, but the predictions game is where you can have your additional bit of fun to make your match day a bit more enjoyable. Head over to bigup.com or download the Big Up iOS app. And if you want to have a look at the predictions, I'll show you the ones that I've gone for this one. Now, every game, they have 6 predictions up, and you need to answer a minimum of 2 and, of course, a maximum of 6. But let's have a little look at the predictions that I've gone for, and you can tell me what you think. So I've gone for 4 here because I didn't want to go too bold. The first one is, will Florian Wirtz have a goal or an assist in the game? And, of course, I've said yes because I'm backing my boy Florian Wirtz. Jürgen Larsson of Wolves, will he have a goal or an assist? Of course, I've said no to that one. Will there be over 3 goals in the game? Of course, yes, the Reds are going to beat them by 3 goals to nil on my predictions. Of course, there'll be 3. And will there be 1 goal or more in the first half? I've said that there will be, but of course I want you to let me know whether you agree or disagree. Now is the perfect time to come over and join us on Big Up for these predictions game, because our friends at Big Up have 2 fantastic promotions running. Firstly, when you enter your first predictions game, you'll be given a free 500 big bucks or $5 that you can either use for a future game or you can donate to your favourite content creator. Wonder who that may be. On top of that, until the end of this month, every predictions game that you enter, whether it be an Anfield Agenda one or any other watch-along on Big Up, you will be entered into a draw for a fantastic $25,000. That's right, you did hear me right. $25,000. Every predictions game that you enter equals 1 entry into that competition, and a winner will be decided at the end of the month. So, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is over 18s only, but let's get cracking with the news because we do have quite a lot to go through. I'm going to start off with the youngster that I said may have an opportunity to get some minutes in Liverpool's first team in the coming days and weeks. According to James Pearce, Academy graduate Welathy Lucky has been called up to the bench in recent times as cover at centre-back, and the 19-year-old defender may be needed during the hectic period. Now, I don't know how hectic this period is, as of course we've had 2 games in 2 weeks. We do have a lot coming up in January, but we still hope, of course, that we get a January signing in, and more on the signings, or the lack of signings, over the next few minutes. KONATE had been a bit of a doubt leading into this one, so fingers crossed that he is fit and available for the game. So there's a few contradictory posts that are kind of winding me up a little bit from James Pearce. Let's start off with one of them. James writes that Liverpool are well positioned from a PSR perspective, given they generated up to £260 million from sales in the last window and have continued to strengthen their books through huge commercial deals, as well as competing in the Champions League. So you're thinking to yourself, happy days, here we go, transfer window open, the Reds have a wedge full of money, let's get cracking. But I'll give you more from James Pearce in a moment. Called Offside, however, have said that Liverpool are considering a surprise 6-month loan move for Paris Saint-Germain striker Gonzalo Ramos as a potential short-term option. Now, I'd be absolutely shocked if PSG were willing to loan Ramos to anybody for 6 months, let alone the club still competing with them in the Champions League. He's a decent player, and I wouldn't say no to him coming in as another option, but again, would rather Liverpool not look to short-term options, and I think a utility-wide player would be far better placed for us to bring in. Isak is only out for about 8 to 10 weeks. I say only, it's a significant period, but it's not too long. So I wouldn't be bringing in a striker for the end of the season to cover that. Our growing need is, well, centre-back and elsewhere. So I mentioned that some of the stuff James Pearce has said has wound me up a little bit. And James Pearce and Greg Evans have said, after doing the bulk of their business during the summer, club sources have indicated that there won't be a flurry of activity in January. Liverpool are unlikely to consider short-term solutions. Instead, they'll push on with their expensively assembled squad, which is starting to gel after a tricky first half of the season. James, please stop it. Please. For the love of God, stop it. Football fans are not idiots. Please stop treating us, talking to us and riding towards us like we are idiots. We know what we need. There are no signs that this team is really gelling. Wirtz is looking a little bit better. We're still threadbare at centre-back. We're still wide open through the middle of the park. And no amount of PR yes-men nonsense is going to stop fans from seeing the truth. They know what we need. Nobody's convinced by the manager. We've run poll after poll after poll on various platforms and people have severe doubts. Where is this gelling he's talking about? We've won a few games, yes, and that's very welcome. But in no way do we look like we have a formation, a system, a style of play that is starting to gel. And to say otherwise, it's just wrong. It is just absolutely wrong. But also, here comes the speaking out of both sides of the mouth part that annoys me about some sections of the media. Straight after that, James Pearce goes on and says, Liverpool have the freedom to react in the market if needed, but they'll likely stick with what they have. We'll likely stick with what we have. Let that sit, folks. We are the walking wounded at the minute. We have 2 centre-backs for the season and Joe Gomez who's injured. And they're talking about Liverpool sticking with what they have. This club was supposed to be looking to build for domination. This club was supposed to be looking to win every trophy on offer. We've already thrown away the League Cup. We're scrapping to get into the Champions League places, not to win the league. And hopefully we can go far in the domestic cup competition that is left, the FA Cup, and we still see where we'll end up in the Champions League. But football fans aren't idiots, James and Greg and everybody else that's trying to pull the wool over our eyes. This squad needs a centre-back. And do you know how I know that? We tried to sign one in the summer. You remember that, James. The manager remembered it when he came out the other day with his absolute nonsense as well, saying that people think we have infinite money and this club can't just spend. You tried to spend, you just messed up the deal. Now go get it done. Because we can't keep writing off seasons and we can't keep hearing excuses. This club is about standards. Those standards need to be maintained and we need to put the pressure on these yes men and these mouthpieces for the club that are not talking about things in a realistic manner. It is just duping fans and it is unfair. Now, speaking about duping fans a little bit, Dean Jones of ESPN has said it's believed that Ibrahim Konate's intermediaries have been working to get a Real Madrid move back in the picture. So like I've said, despite what Pearce and everybody else is trying to say to us, we have 2 fit centre-backs at the club now, one of which seems doesn't want to be there and is actively trying to find his way out. Now, how do you think the second half of this season is going to go when we have to read every single week about Konate wanting Madrid, or Konate wanting Barca, or Konate wanting Bayern Munich, because they haven't managed to get him to tie down a contract? Virgil's 34 and looking every age of it. This is absolute lunacy, and the football club needs to stop treating us fans like idiots. Go out there and get what needs to be done. Act like you're supposed to do. Act like a big club. Get it done and stop with the excuses. Arne can't come out and moan about having no fit bodies when he doesn't have the ability to rotate because the recruitment just wasn't done deep enough, and that is a problem that hasn't been spoken about enough. So that is it for me for now, ladies and gentlemen. But as I said, I have a lot that I wanted to get off my chest today. I'm sick of the doublespeak. I'm sick of us fans being taken for idiots. We need a DM. We need a minimum of 1 centre-back. And let's be honest, we probably need a wide attacking player at some point as well. We don't know how Mo will come back. We don't know how Isak will come back. And this mythical gelling and things coming together just is simply not true. We won 5 games at the start of the season in a row, and even then fans knew that things weren't great. Since then, we've underseen an absolutely catastrophic fall. We've seen three goal defeats back to back to back. We've seen all kinds of records smashed, and because right now we are in the easiest run of the season, and don't forget, that's what Opta said, the easiest run of the season, and we're barely scraping through it. These journalists think that we're going to fall for this nonsense yet again. Do your jobs. Put the pressure on the club. Speak on behalf of the fans. Talk about reality and not just the talking points the club want you putting out there. My friends, I love you all to bits. Thank you so much for your continued support. We will see you tomorrow, 1:45 for the watch along. Don't forget to cross the big up and check out the predictions game as well. Best of luck to everyone that entered. A reminder, it is over 18s only. And if you do win that $25,000 in the lucky draw, don't forget about your boy Craig. You know, $25,000. Share the love. We'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Bye-bye.